Ladies and gentlemen, if I've got to have your attention, please. At this time, we'd like all of the past Hall of Fame inductees to gather to this side of the stage. That'd be to your left, my right, and the Grant Award winners to gather at the right side of the stage, which is to my left. Judy Luciani will line up the Grant Award winners. Peg Mueller and George Marks will be rounding up the past Hall of Fame inductees. Again, Hall of Fame inductees over here, Grant Award winners over here. And we'll get going in just a little bit. Ready to go? Ready to go? You good? I'll introduce you. Okay.
I'm ready too, Jay. I'm ready.
All right, everybody, we're ready to go. And to start things off tonight, let's welcome to the podium the president of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club, Mr. Ken Roberts.
Thank you, Jay. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to the 58th Annual Induction Banquet of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame, with a special recognition to our past inductees in attendance who you will meet in just a few minutes. A special welcome goes out to the family members of our award winners, sports enthusiasts, and of course the members of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club. This night is about recognizing outstanding achievements in sports in and around the Madison area. Whether for the past year or over an entire career, you'll be able to catch up with some of Madison's finest athletes and builders of athletics in our parade of past inductees. You will also see that our grant recipients and our major award winners are deserving of the recognition that they are about to receive. Finally, this evening, you will see an outstanding class of Hall of Fame inductees. I am sure you will agree they are very deserving of this honor, And I look forward to, and I'm sure you do also, seeing their induction videos. This banquet could not be possible without the generosity of our sponsors who make this all happen. I would like to acknowledge them at this time. If you would please stand up for recognition when I call your name, it would be appreciated. And please hold your applause until all are introduced. The Tom Google Family Fund Foundation. We got someone, there they are back there. The Madison Area Sports Commission. Edgewood College Athletics. Flad Development and Investments. Neckerman Insurance Services. And our new sponsor this year, Exact Sciences. A final acknowledgement and thank you must be given to our inductee enshrinement sponsor, Strand Associates. Strand Associates goes above and beyond in making this event a very special evening. Please give these sponsors a big thank you with a round of applause. My final words go out to all of you in the audience, and it comes as an invitation to join our club. We meet for lunch weekly throughout the school year and have informative and entertaining speakers each week. Please visit the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club website and look at the Facebook page to get more information. And I'm told by our club secretary, Peter Williams, that we do have forms in the lobby there if you want to join our club. There are forms available there, but they are available on our website. Now it is with great anticipation to get this induction ceremony going that I gladly turn the microphone back over to our Master of Ceremony for his 16th year, Jay Wilson. So I want you to sit back and enjoy this wonderful program.
Thank you, Ken. God, I had dark hair 16 years ago. It's really been an honor to be here for those 16 years, too, I have to say. It's really one of my favorite nights of the whole year, and I'm really glad that it's back. As Ken mentioned, one of the special segments of our evening is to welcome back the Hall of Fame inductees of the past who are with us this evening, and we ask everyone to hold their applause until the end of the introductions, but you never do, so applaud as you wish. So here they are, some of the greatest names in Madison sports history. Here we go. Multi-sport athlete from La Follette and UW football player John Krugman, class of 2019. UW baseball player and WIAA official from the class of 2018, Ron Krohn. La Follette athletic director and WIAA tournaments coordinator, Paul Swanson, class of 2018. UW and pro hockey player from the class of 2015, Barry Richter. Former UW volleyball coach from the class of 2015, Pete Waite. Former UW wrestling coach from the class of 2014, Dwayne Clevin. Madison Central basketball and Western Michigan basketball player from the class of 2014, Larry Pedrosine. From the class of 2012, the Olympic and Paralympic curling coach, Steve Brown. UW baseball player and Madison Memorial baseball coach from the class of 2012, Tom Bennett. Madison Memorial, WIAA, and Olympic team physician, class of 2010, Dr. Conrad Andringa. Edgewood multi-sport athlete and UW associate athletic director from the class of 2010, Vince Sweeney. You're not Vince Sweeney, but Vince was a member of that 2010 class. From the class of 2010, UW baseball player and Edgewood baseball coach, Greg O'Brien. There we go. You don't look anything like Vince, do you? Okay. From the class of 2009, former Madison Memorial hockey coach, Vic Levine. Madison Memorial multi-sport athlete and UW and NHL hockey player from the class of 2007, John Bice. Madison bowler and youth and high school baseball coach, class of 2007, Jim Nye. Multi-sport Madison Edgewood coach from the class of 2006, Dorothy Goldsworthy. Longtime coach at Madison Memorial in football and swimming and a whole lot of other things, class of 2005, Gary Cope-Colpine. Class of 2002, UW-Whitewater men's basketball coach, Dave Vandermeulen. Let me check off Dave Kelleher. Next, class of 2000, UW baseball player and three-sport college game official, Otto Poles. Madison East and UW football player, class of 1999, Steve Underwood. Multi-sport Madison West coach, 1996, her class, Peg Mueller. Class of 1987, Madison golfer and UW women's golf coach, Jackie Molinaro Hayes. And from the class of 1976, the multi-sport East athlete, UW athlete, NFL football player, UW athletic director, Pat Richter. At this time, we'd also like to recognize 6 of our past inductees who have passed since our last banquet in 2019. In 2019, Vern Belisle, class of 1991, and Tom Nasolke, class of 1993. In 2020, Rob Andringa, class of 2011, and Joe Franklin, class of 1988. And in 2021, Kit Saunders Nordine, class of 1992, and John Paulus, class of 1985. There are over 200 members of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. They're all incredibly talented, all very unique, and they all have amazing stories of accomplishment and service on and off the field. Again, welcome to the 58th Annual Madison Sports Hall of Fame Induction Banquet. It has been 819 days since the last time we gathered for this event. Since then, an awful lot has happened. So many have been challenged by the COVID-19 pandemic. So many of our friends and acquaintances have been battling through some tough and difficult times. But the good news is, here we are tonight. We still have many challenges ahead, but for tonight, let's take a break from all that and remember that there's still a lot to be thankful for, and that sports can still provide us so many thrills, teach us so many great lessons, and remind us that this is a pretty great place to be, and we have a lot to be proud of. Hard to believe it's been 819 days since we gathered last. Since then, I retired from local television sports after 40 years. Funny thing is, the last 25 of those years, the running joke I always told people is that someday I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to go pick range balls at a golf course. And I'll have you know I'm the best darn range ball picker at Pleasant View Golf Course in Middleton right now. So my dreams came true. Now, in those 40 years of covering local sports, I had the great honor and privilege to cover everybody sitting here to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and to some degree, everybody sitting up here for these awards tonight. And I can tell you that everyone who's going to be honored here tonight is truly deserving, in a lot of ways, of the recognition they will receive. All right, let's get to it now. Time for the Grant Award winners. With that, we welcome back Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club President Ken Roberts.
I am honored to present the 2021 Otto Breitenbach Grant Awards. For those of you who may not be familiar with Otto Breitenbach, he was born and raised in Madison, a multi-sport athlete at Edgewood High School and football player at the University of Wisconsin. His education and football career at the University of Wisconsin were interrupted by World War II. And I urge you to learn more about Otto and his teammates that served their country during World War II to get a hold of and read the book called Third Down and a War to Go. I think you will find it an inspiring read. As a physical education teacher, he taught and coached in Middleton and Madison La Follette, where he was athletic director as well. Later, he joined the UW athletic department, serving as an associate director for 15 years. Otto was a longtime club member, serving as its president several times. Pete, are you ready? All right, our first grant recipient is the First Tee of South Central Wisconsin, represented by Jenny Whartonby and Alyssa Farrell. The First Tee provides educational programs for youth that build character, instill life-enhancing values, and promotes healthy choices through the game of golf. They believe that no child should be turned away for an inability to pay the fees. Their programs are held year-round at schools, after-school programs, and at summer green grass facilities. Madison East High School soccer program is our second grant award winner this year. They are represented here tonight by James Lister. These funds will be used to purchase additional equipment, including soccer balls for their participants. The East Soccer program is the largest program at Madison East, and this grant will provide a much-needed boost to assist all students regardless of their economic status. Madison Memorial Youth Basketball is the third recipient of a Breitenbach grant this year. On hand to receive the grant are Carrie Sparks, Becky Funk, and Adrian Mixon. This program provides opportunities for elementary and middle school boys and girls in the Memorial High School attendance area to participate in the sport of basketball. Funds will be used to pay for uniforms, basketballs, and to fund youth unable to afford the cost of the program. Our fourth grant recipient is the Madison Speed Skating Club, represented by Dan Green and club president Mary Murphy. Club fosters the growth of short and long track speed skating in the Madison area through educational opportunities that support skater and social development and competition competency. Membership has grown by 50% since 2019. Grant funds will be utilized to maintain equipment that meets or exceeds current safety standards, as safety is paramount to the club. Our fifth and final grant recipient is Tri-4 Schools, represented by Michael Theo. Club events and programs teach children ages 3 through 14 about setting and achieving goals related to fitness, nutrition, sportsmanship, and self-confidence regardless of race, gender, socioeconomic status, and physical or mental ability by utilizing the lifetime sports of swimming, biking, and running. Funds from this grant will assist kids unable to afford the tuition to be able to attend the training. And finally, the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club hopes to continue the promotion of youth sports through these annual grants. So if you represent or know of a program that needs financial assistance, go to our website to download an application for next year. Again, congratulations to these grant recipients. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken and Pete. As usual, tonight we're going to recognize a number of great sports teams and individuals who have made their mark over the past couple of years. And we begin with the presentation of the Madison Area Sports Commission Pat Richter Favorite Sibling Award. The Assistant Sports Director and Weekend Anchor at WKOW TV, Channel 27, Carly Murata, joins us.
Hi everyone, I'm Carly. I'm the weekend sports anchor, not the assistant sports director, but I'll take it. For WKW 27, I'm honored to present the Madison Area Sports Commission Pat Richter Favorite Sibling Award to Nicole Newman. Nicole is a graduate of Madison La Follette High School, where she played basketball, softball, and volleyball. She had Division I offers in both basketball and softball, and ultimately decided to pursue a softball career at Drake University as a pitcher. Just as she was starting to find her footing, Nicole had to overcome a big obstacle as she underwent Tommy John surgery for a partial UCL tear and had to redshirt her junior year. But she came back stronger than ever, with 2 years left to show what she's got on the mound. In 2019, Nicole entered her final year at Drake. She had never thrown a perfect game, and it was something she always dreamed of accomplishing. Well, in just 1 year, she set a single season record with 5 perfect games. Also, as a redshirt senior, Nicole finished as the NCAA leader in strikeouts with 423, posted 13.3 strikeouts per 7 innings. Nicole became the Bulldogs' first NFCA first-team All-American in program history, and is Drake's all-time leader in strikeouts with 1,223 and wins with 93. With a major in psychology, Nicole always loved the mental side of the game. The best way to combine her passion of softball and psychology was to pursue a career in coaching. So following her career as a collegiate player, Nicole joined the Minnesota softball team as a graduate manager for the past 2 seasons. Now, this award is coming at the perfect time, as just last month, Nicole accepted a position with Creighton as the pitching coach. Nicole is thrilled to be given the opportunity to give back to the next generation of softball players. But she's not done playing just yet. Nicole was picked in the 3rd round of the National Pro Fast Pitch Draft. She's playing professionally with Athletes Unlimited from August 15th to September 28th in Chicago. Now, the group of players includes many Olympians and those from the highest profile colleges in the country. During this time, she'll work virtually with Creighton, which she got a lot of good practice during the pandemic. And Nicole says her own training helps her become an even better coach. When looking back at her accomplishments, she has her parents, Kathy and Charlie Newman, to thank. With all the sports she played, they sacrificed a lot as they were constantly traveling to games and practices. She said they were instrumental in her success because they wanted nothing more than for her to pursue her dreams. Please give a big round of applause for the Pat Richter Favorite Sibling Award winner, Nicole Newman.
The Edgewood College Friend of Sport Award is next, and here to present that is the sports director, WMTV Channel 15. Just a second. He's one of those guys that everyone refers to by one name, you know, like LeBron, Michael, Jocko, Madonna. Yeah. Here's Mike Jocks.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. A couple of years ago, I mentioned every time I've gotten up here, I think this is my 5th or 6th year. I always make the joke of hoping that Jay retires. So last time we got together so many days ago, I said, Jay, it's probably time for you to retire, and they did, and I felt really bad. But then he's telling me about his life back there, and maybe I'll retire. Yeah. But then I remember I have 3 kids at school, and then I have to keep going, or I'll be in trouble for my wife. Did anybody else here raise your hand if this is true for anybody else? Anybody else take their suits to the dry cleaner, and they said they're going to have them ready by Monday and then not have them ready for Tuesday, and you got to wear a short-sleeve shirt? Is it just me? Yeah. I'm usually wearing a sport coat, but I do have a chance to show off these pipes. Been working out, Jay, at the table. Now, I usually don't like to stick around for the crowd, but, tonight we'll have to do. I do want to say that, a lot of people I see you wearing your masks, and then we have to do that in Dane County. I am actually grateful for wearing masks because it hides my double chin. So, these are, I hope they last for a while. If we can find one for my stomach, that would be awesome as well. And one more thing, I know Will's waiting patiently as I get to the speech guy, come on. But when Al Schumacher called me to present tonight, he said, Jocko, make sure you get your shots before you get to speak. And I'm over there at the bar doing shots of tequila all night. And he says, I'm talking about your vaccination shots. So if I slur my words, you'll understand. All right, time to give the Edgewood College Friend of Sport Award, and it goes to Will Smith of Madison. And what an impact Will has made on our community, not only for the Southside Raiders, but he's touched so many lives along the way. Let me tell you about Will, because that's my job tonight. A 1972 graduate of Madison Memorial, where he played football, basketball, baseball, and indoor track. He actually got started in coaching when he was in high school, getting involved with the South Madison Neighborhood Center, which eventually became the Boys and Girls Club. Yes, Will was a sophomore when his love for coaching took over. He actually took a year off of high school football to get his team going, Thanks to a $7,000 grant given to the neighborhood center, Will said to the director, let's do something big with the youth football team. And from 1970 to 1990, Smith coached football and changed lives. The Southside Raiders were not only good themselves, but they made the high schools they fit into even better. 3 of those players made it into the NFL: Tyrone Braxton, Tim Jordan, and Derek Stanley. But for as great as some of the men that were, that they had many other successes and stories along the way. Things that made coaching for Will all worth it. Will told me, kids come back and say thank you. Thank you for pointing me in the right direction, not just on the football field, but in the game of life. His dad told him, you know what? You don't have the hard enough work ethic to be great yourself. And he said, what? No, you're too busy helping others. And then said, Will, you're going to be a great coach someday. And your dad was right, Will. Will says he loved playing baseball and basketball and football, but he loved coaching even more. Even when he's done coaching, his duties still go on this day. With the Raiders, from reffing, being on the board, to even working the chain gang, Will has done it all, and he leaves his heart on the field and his soul as well. He's touched so many lives along the way. Will Smith, on behalf of all of us in the community, thank you for working with young people, not only making them better football players, but even better, thank you for making them better people. Thank you for being a dad to kids that needed someone like you in their lives. And thank you for making our community a better place to live. And Will Smith, thank you for being the Edgewood College Friend of Sport.
Thank you, Jocko. Congratulations, Will. It's my honor to present the Flat Development and Investment Madison Area Sportsperson of the Year Award to Stoughton's Brooks Empey. Brooks Empey is the kind of guy that exemplifies why we admire student athletes. And it's hard to say which part of Brooks Empey is more impressive, the student part or the athlete part. His grade point, 4.0. He'll be attending the University of Wisconsin to compete in wrestling, but he'll also study civil engineering and minor in business management at UW. Then there's the athlete part. First in football. As a defensive end and outside linebacker, he was first team All-State in the alternate fall season this spring. In track, he was part of the Stoughton 800-meter relay that made it to the state track meet in lacrosse. And then there's wrestling. As a senior, Brooks was undefeated and repeated as the WIAA State Division I wrestling champion at 220 pounds. Stoughton's abbreviated wrestling season prevented him from establishing even more individual records at Stoughton, but he does have the second most career pins at one of the most decorated wrestling programs in state history. And he also set the Vikings single season pin record as a junior. I'm from Wisconsin Rapids. He's from Stoughton. If you know anything about Rapids and Stoughton wrestling, it's like this. I have a friend from Wisconsin Rapids. I told him, yeah, I'm going to give Brooks this award. And the guy from Rapids said, Brooks Empey, he is a bad dude. So if that's what your rivals think of you, I think that says an awful lot. Brooks was named the Wisconsin State Journal's All-Area Boys Athlete of the Year. Nobody works harder or has accomplished more in his high school athletic career. He told the State Journal's John Mason, I always wanted to be the best. Well, Brooks, mission accomplished. Congratulations to the Flat Development and Investment Madison Area Sportsperson of the Year, Brooks Empey. The Neckerman Insurance Services Madison Sportswoman of the Year Award is next. Pleased to welcome a guy who's seen an awful lot in his many years of covering local sports around here, from ESPN Madison and News Publishing Incorporated, Dennis Semrow.
Wow, this is impressive. Every year I get to come up here and be part of this. I'm amazed at how many outstanding individuals this community has produced. I've been able to document a lot of stories, I've been doing this a long time, not as long as Mike Lucas. And Mike, I'm very happy for you tonight. Congratulations. It's been a heck of a year, as Jay mentioned. And for high school sports, we persevered. These athletes up here persevered. The coaches persevered, and we did it. Now, when I used to cover the Milwaukee Brewers, I talked to the manager, like Ned Yost, and say, Ben Sheets, what's up with him today? He's day-to-day. Aren't we all? We're all day-to-day, right? If this past year taught us anything, it's to treasure the moment. And this is a very special moment for a lot of special people tonight. I get to present the Neckerman Insurance Services Madison Sportswoman of the Year Award to Madison Edgewood graduate Balaki Ding. Now, little history. My mom went to Edgewood. My son is an Edgewood grad. And Joel Maturi and I were roommates on a Badger basketball trip, so I have ties to Edgewood. And just to tell you that Balaki is an outstanding representative, not only of the school, but of our community. As the state's defending singles champion in WI Division II tennis, she wasn't sure if there was going to be a season last year. Now, you think you're going to be a senior, you want to go out on top, you want to be recruited, and faced with the opportunity of maybe not even having a season. Well, somehow they had a season. State championships events were not permitted at Nilsson Tennis Stadium. However, we had one. And top-seeded Deng had to go to Kohler to accomplish this. Now, she's a left-hander, powerful forehand, improved backhand, and nifty serve volley. I don't want to play her one-on-one. No way. She wasn't going to miss out on this opportunity. She didn't. She earned a 6-3, 7-5 victory over second-seeded Erica Curtin on Appleton Xavier Senior in the Division II championship match at Sports Court in Kohler. Now, she swept 4 games to become Edgewood's first repeat champion, singles or doubles in school history, according to the WIA. There was no formal awards ceremony due to COVID. Elbow bumps became the norm, no handshakes, no parents, no fans in the stands. No spectators were permitted at Sports Court where the event was held. That left Deng's mother, Wilma Joshua, to wait outside the facility during the competition, watch the match live stream on her phone. Think about that, parents who wanted to be right there for your kids. The family also followed along in a distance, thanks to Zoom. Boy, the word Zoom, we thought that just meant fast a few years ago. That adds a whole new meaning now. Now, Balaki is a 4-time letter winner in tennis. She also led Edgewood to a berth in the state semifinals team competition last year. And the Crusaders participated state her sophomore year. She was also a state qualifier as a freshman, finishing 7th and 4th as a sophomore. In basketball, she was a 4-time letter winner, and some people say that might have even been another sport she could have excelled at, but she chose tennis, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. She earned all Badger Conference honors the 2 years that they were available. There were none this past year because of the pandemic. But she capped her career when she was selected to play in the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Division III All-Star Game. And as part of the board for the WBCA, we raised over $100,000 a year for different organizations, and she was part of that. So that was a great award, Balaki. She was also named the State Journal Female Student Athlete of the Year as a junior and named the USA Today Athlete of the Year, State Athlete of the Year for tennis. Now, she started her sports career when she was 5, playing soccer, golf, and tennis. And when she was a little girl, she decided tennis would be her sport because of an interaction with a total stranger. She said, I was playing outside with my mom and my siblings, and this lady came by. She said, I've never seen that many African Americans out playing tennis. And she said, we should all keep playing so that we can inspire others to take up the sport. And that's what she's been trying to do ever since. Congrats, Balaki. Now, our 3 student athletes up here, Nicole and Brooks and Balaki, I've been pleased to have to do profiles going back to my Cap Times days. And from her profile, a couple of things that we brought out. She likes tennis because you have to take responsibility for your own actions. You can't blame anybody else. Her role models are her 6 siblings because they each play a key role in her life. She said her work ethic comes from a remarkable family, including her mother, Wilma Joshua, and father, Joseph Deng, who emigrated from war-torn Sudan in 1997. Now she's been a member of the Black Student Union, Multicultural Club, Close-Up Club, Key Club, has coached youth tennis and basketball, and taught introductory youth tennis lessons at Cherokee. She's also worked at the Goodman Community Center, so she's learned at an early age, I have to give back. Now, she is attending Delaware State, and she got away here for a couple of days, and she will be studying psychology and business and play competitive tennis. Her goal is to play pro tennis and help her family back in the Sudan. And she said by the time she's 25 or 30, she wants to win the French Open. I wouldn't put it past her. I am proud to present the Neckerman Insurance Services Madison Sportsman of the Year Award to Madison Edgewood graduate Balaki Deng.
Our next award is the Madison Sportsman of the Year. Let's welcome the voice of Badger men's hockey on radio and television, the very versatile Brian Posick.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations, Jerry and Mike and Joel and Molly and Sue on a great honor today. Dating back to the early 90s, when I first arrived in Madison, Wisconsin volleyball enjoyed tremendous success under head coaches Steve Lowe, Margie Fitzpatrick, John Cook, and Madison Sports Hall of Famer Pete Waite. But since 2013, and no disrespect to the coaches I mentioned, Badger volleyball has reached new heights under the leadership of Kelly Sheffield. In Kelly's first 8 years, Wisconsin finished ranked in the top 12 nationally each season, made the NCAA tournament each season, advanced to the Sweet 16 each season, made the NCAA Final Four 3 times, played in the national championship match 3 times, won the Big Ten championship 3 times. And last weekend over TCU and Baylor, a couple of wins for the Badgers to kick off this season. Kelly Sheffield's UW career record is 205 wins and only 50 losses. Kelly also has coached and developed 15 All-Americans at Wisconsin, the Big Ten Player of the Year twice, the Big Ten Setter of the Year 4 times, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year 3 times, the Conference Defensive Player of the Year once, and twice himself was named Big Ten Coach of the Year, including last season when the Badgers captured their 2nd straight conference championship. As you know, a year ago at this time, in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, the volleyball season was almost canceled, but thankfully the Big Ten and other conferences adjusted, and Kelly Sheffield adjusted and listened and learned learn from his players, and kept his squad together and engaged and enthused during some difficult times, and for some more difficult than others. So after a shortened spring season, while they decided to play this shortened spring season, Wisconsin won its first 10 matches. Everything was rosy. We're still wearing masks. There's no fans at the field house, and then everything came to a grinding halt. 9 matches were canceled, 2 of which were forfeited by opponents. From February 22nd to April 1st, the Badgers played only once. Almost a month and a half, 1 match. The season eventually resumed. Kelly's squad kept rolling. They swept 2 matches from Michigan to finish the regular season undefeated, and then caught the fancy of UW fans not only in Madison but the state and throughout the country, rolling through the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament to reach the Final Four in Omaha, Nebraska. In the national semifinals against Florida, Wisconsin won the first set, lost the second set, won the third set, lost the fourth set, and set up an epic 5th set. The Badgers fell behind 7-4, but rallied for a 15-12 victory over the Gators and advanced to play Texas in the national championship match. Unfortunately, the Longhorns did not go down that night, but it was quite a run for the Wisconsin Badgers. They finished the spring 18-1 and ranked 2nd in the country. 6 Badgers earned All-America honors, including senior middle blocker Dana Redke, who became the first player in school history to be named first-team All-American 4 times. The Badgers have 5 seniors back from last year's squad: Dana Redke, 2-time first-team All-American setter Sydney Hilly, Lauren Barnes, Danielle Hart, and Georgia Savita, plus first-team All-Big Ten hitter and 3rd-team All-American Devin Robinson, just to name a few. Kelly Sheffield's impact on the University of Wisconsin, though, goes beyond volleyball. His players have earned numerous academic honors, most notably Sydney Hilly, a two-time academic All-American who graduated last December with degrees in genetics and genomics and currently is a graduate student in applied biotechnology. Kelly's team also ranks among the best in the athletic department in community service hours. And due in large part to his persistence and vision for the program, the legendary UW Fieldhouse has been renovated to accommodate over 8,000 fans and further improving one of the most difficult places to play in the country. If you haven't met or spoken with Kelly Sheffield, I suggest you do so. He's a little quirky, very funny, tells dad jokes. He told one right off the bat when he sat down next to me. Loves baseball, which I admire. He's also up to date on pop culture, and he's a tremendous leader of young women. And as a father of two young women, I truly appreciate that. Dana Redke said of her head coach, quote, "Kelly is a great mentor. He pushes us to our limits, but will always be there to give you a high five or a hug at the end. Kelly has really dedicated his coaching style to make us better, more confident people. He will forever have an impact on me." That's from Dana Redke. Sydney Hilly says of Kelly Sheffield, quote, "He truly wants his players to succeed in all aspects of life, and I am so grateful to have a coach who cares so much about me as a person and not just a volleyball player." It is my pleasure to present the Exact Sciences Madison Sportsman of the Year Award to a great man, husband, girl dad, mentor, friend, and coach, Kelly Sheffield. Where are we at here? Oh, there we are.
And now the highlight of the evening, the class of 2021 for the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. Our 5 new members all took very different and diverse paths to get here. In a little bit, we'll hear their Hall of Fame stories, and you'll see how remarkable their careers were. Hall of Fame careers, in fact. They all made tremendous contributions to our community, from thrilling us on the field of competition to serving our community in many ways. We asked our inductees, as their name is called, to please stand. Then we'll be seated again as your video presentation begins. At the end of the video presentation, Ken Roberts and George Marks will present our inductees with their brand new Hall of Fame plaques. And a little something different this year, we will have a quick interview with our Hall of Fame inductees at the end of their video presentation as well. Let's welcome our first inductee tonight, Jerry Kelly.
Course at Vitance Golfland have in common with the South Course at the Firestone Country Club in Akron, Ohio. The course once redesigned by Robert Trent Jones and the current home of the Bridgestone Senior Players Championship. Well, Jerry Kelly walked off the final green at each course the winner. Kelly grew up on Madison's west side. His parents, Jack and Lee Kelly, moved the family to Maple Bluff when Jerry was 12. He has a brother, Scott, and 3 sisters, Sue, Tricia, and Carrie. The entire family played sports, and since Jerry was the youngest, he learned a lot from his older siblings. Being the youngest, his mom would take him to the driving range with her in the summer when the other kids were old enough to be out of the house. Jerry was just a baby, but there he was at the driving range, probably squirming around in his baby seat, hoping to get out so he could work on his short game. One of his favorite memories was when he was 6. He was interviewed for TV after winning the Channel 3 George Vitance Par 3 tournament against 7- and 8-year-olds. Kelly played hockey, baseball, and soccer as a youngster in addition to golf. That meant that when they moved from the west side of town to Maple Bluff, he was now playing against all of his old friends. Naturally, there were some very heated battles that took place. He only had one true sports idol growing up, a man by the name of Jack Nicklaus. Jerry says his father gave him all the tools he needed to succeed at anything in life. Hockey was his favorite sport, but he was better at golf. Jerry says he could never see the ice the way he could see a green. He hung up the baseball glove when he was 13, a victim, like so many of us, of the curveball. He won 11 high school letters in golf, hockey, and soccer. A broken ankle as a freshman kept him from winning a 12th. He won all city honors in hockey and soccer. He made the inaugural all-city golf team as a senior. He also played in national golf tournaments all summer and a handful in the winter. Jerry would always say that he would skip a hockey tournament for golf, but never miss a golf tournament for hockey. That's how he knew which path to follow in life. He took his game to the University of Hartford in Connecticut on a scholarship. Kelly did his part in helping the Hawks make 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances. He took medalist honors 4 times for the Hawks and ended his college career with 27 top 10 finishes. Before turning pro in 1989 after college, he won his first major amateur event in the Wisconsin Amateur Match Play Tournament. Jerry Kelly's game was on autopilot in 2002 when he won for the first time on the PGA Tour at the Sony Open in Hawaii. Later that season, he won the Advil Western Open at Cog Hill outside Chicago. Those 2 tournament victories helped him finish 4th on the PGA Tour money list in 2002. He got his 3rd win in 2009 at the Zurich Classic in New Orleans with a 2-foot putt for par on 18. In 2003, he was the 18th ranked player worldwide according to the official World Golf Ranking. 4 years ago, he made his debut on the PGA Tour Champions Circuit. He's won 8 tournaments since then, including the Bridgestone Seniors Championship mentioned earlier, the first major he's won in his professional career. And of course, we all remember his most recent win this past June here in his hometown at University Ridge in the American Family Insurance Championship. Kelly gives credit for the success he's had to coaches, friends, and family along his path, including his dad, Jack, Ray Geschke, George Fabian, and Rob Andringa. His brothers-in-law, Joe Gambardella and Pete Waite, get credit for helping Jerry handle the pressure as he continues his career on the Pro Tour. Jerry and wife Carol have a son, Cooper. They enjoy family time, and now that his son is in college, Jerry says he and Carol feel like rookies again, traveling the world over to spend time with him. Regarding his induction tonight, Kelly smiles every time he realizes he's going into the same Hall of Fame so many of the people he grew up trying to emulate are in. In his own words, that's as cool as it gets. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Jerry Kelly into the class of 2021.
And now let's hear a little more with Jerry, with Jocko.
Thank you, Jay. That's pretty awesome, right? We get a standing ovation from so many great people here in Madison, and to see your name go into the Hall of Fame. We talked about it earlier in our live interview, but you said it already. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't get the chills that often outside of my competition, and you guys definitely gave it to me right there. Thank you so much. That meant a lot.
Since that video was made, you put another check mark on your resume. You won the American Family Insurance Championship again, to do it in front of your hometown fans again. It probably another chill-making moment.
No question. The people of this city, the people of this state have given so much to me and my family that it feels great to play in front of everybody. Everybody thinks about the pressure that it is playing. The energy that you all have given me throughout my entire career, I wouldn't be where I am without everybody in this room and everybody that's supported me. So I can't repay anything. It's awesome.
We mentioned some of the names that we lost, and I know Rob Andringa is a great friend of a lot of people out here, but yours as well, and I know you're thinking about him a lot tonight.
I am, and Connie and Phyllis, it's always great to see them here. A father and a son in the Hall of Fame together, and what a deserving individual. I don't think I've ever met a more positive, giving person than Ringo, and he taught me a lot in the last few years, and I think about him often. I wear a badge on my hat that means a lot to both he and I, and we'll be brothers forever for that.
Jerry Kelly, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to you, sir. Proud of you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Our next inductee tonight, Mike Lucas.
It's a good thing for all of us here tonight. Mike Lucas wasn't very good bussing tables at his parents' restaurant in downtown Beloit. If he hadn't, in his own words, gotten in the way all the time and been sent home, he might have stayed in that business, and then we'd have missed out every time we read the sports section, watched local television, or listened to the Badgers on radio. Thankfully, Mike chose the career path he did, gifting us with his wonderful creative writing, unique style, and opinionated commentary. He was born in Beloit to Marika and Gus Lucas. His father was born in Greece, landed on the beaches at Normandy, and married Marika, one of the many Europeans liberated by the Allies on their way to put an end to the Third Reich. Mike was a self-professed playground junkie as a kid, playing dusk till dawn. Old school stuff, tackle football without helmets and pads, basketball wherever he could find a hoop. He wore out the rim on his garage hoop and the garage door with a few errant shots now and then. Growing up just one block from Strong Stadium, home of Beloit College football, he became a ball boy for the team as a young teen. An unforgettable memory from those days is of a running back from Ripon College, absolutely destroying the Beloit defense with his tenacious down-the-throat style. Lucas reminded that particular running back of those memories from time to time, covering Badger basketball over the years. That running back was Dick Bennett. Mike played football in high school. By his own admission, he was a slow and not strong enough offensive lineman. He remembers telling his dad if he couldn't play sports at a high level, he wanted to write about sports at a high level. Lucas's path to journalistic excellence began his junior year when he joined his high school newspaper. His first writing awards came in his senior year. Influences included his school mentor, Rick Schoenfield, his football coach, John Heineke, and basketball coach, Bernie Barkin, a friend of the family. He went to his first Badger football game at 16. He remembers it vividly, not because the Badgers beat the Gophers 7-6, but because the players carried UW football coach Mill Brune off the field on their shoulders. Brune had been fired just a few days before. Lucas remembers that game as an example of how people handle pressure, a topic that would soon become a favorite of his. Mike enrolled at the UW in 1968, not the most idyllic of times on the Wisconsin campus. He wrote for the Badger Herald and the Daily Cardinal. He chose the Capital Times over the Wisconsin Journal in 1971. During his first years at the Cap Times, he covered mostly high school football and basketball. The first time he covered a La Follette football game, he figured out pretty quickly Otto Breitenbach was a special human being. Breitenbach became a good friend and ally. Soon he was getting the chance to cover and write about the Badgers, Brewers, and Packers. In those formative years as a writer, Wisconsin coaches John Jardine, John Powless, and Bob Johnson had a big impact on Mike.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So did Victor the Bear. Mike was looking for something fresh and unique to write about one day, so he decided to take his chances in the ring at the Coliseum against Victor the Wrestling Bear. There was no upset that evening in the Coliseum, my friends. The favorite pinned the underdog in mere seconds. But Lucas found a silver lining losing to a 400-pound bear. Mike says that event prepared him for the next step in his career, hosting a radio sports talk show. That opportunity came along in 1976. A year later, he started doing color commentary on the radio for Badger hockey. In 1980, he added TV color commentary duties on WHA-TV for Badger football and basketball. In 1994, another career-shaping opportunity came along when he became half of the Matt LePay Mike Lucas broadcasting team on the Badger TV network. When he's not in your newspaper, on radio or television anywhere, he's probably writing another book. Lucas has written 6 on all things Wisconsin athletics. It's difficult to summarize everything Mike's done because he's done so much. 39 years writing award-winning stories and columns for the Capital Times. 17 plus years hosting the weekly TV show Sidelines. 10 years hosting Lucas in the Morning weekdays on radio. Nearly 11 years as the senior writer for UWBadgers.com. And he played a major role in the startup of the online magazine Varsity. Lucas still pinches himself when he thinks about the 7 Rose Bowls he's covered, the 3 Final Fours, that he's the only accredited writer who's covered each of Wisconsin hockey's 6 national championships. Mike says he's flattered and overwhelmed to join such an exclusive club. Beloit's his birthplace, but Madison's been his home for more than 50 years. As Mike likes to say, it's been one hell of a run. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Mike Lucas into the class of 2021.
And let's hear more from Mike. He's with Brian Posick.
So I came to Madison in 1991, April 1st, April Fools. And I remember I used to have to speak with Mike during morning sports. It was a commentary, and I'm supposed to lead him into various different subjects. And it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, and he called me one time after one of our interviews and told me if I wasn't going to prepare, then don't bother calling him anymore. So, so I do have some notes here, and then also some comments from some of his former colleagues. So, Mike, and you know what? Actually, you're not as tall as I thought you were, but
I look bigger.
yeah, you look a lot. Yeah, you do. I've always thought you were an excellent writer and a fantastic storyteller. So, how did you develop your style?
Well, first of all, let me say I still have nightmares about wrestling that bear. And the thing about it, his trainer was more intimidating than the bear itself. And I weighed about 600 pounds. The trainer came over to me as I was getting ready to get on the mat. His name was Tuffy Truesdale. And he put his face right in my face, and he started sniffing. He said, you been drinking? I said, drinking? He said, Victor doesn't like the smell of alcohol on anyone's breath. And I think to myself, I'm going to wrestle a 600-pound bear sober? What are you thinking about? But you do a lot of stupid things in this business.
Yeah, no, I know. I know you're an animal lover, too. You have a dog with your wife, Peg. You've had 2 others before. I know you don't like wolverines. You don't like hawks. You don't like wildcats, gophers, for sure. My God. Exactly. But you've shared another story I wish you would indulge about Binky the elephant.
Oh, that when they had the family day at Camp Randall Stadium. Yeah. That didn't go well.
No, the Binky left a little deposit on the field, right?
Yeah, that.
So did Don Morton.
Yeah, well. That's
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. All right. So, you started writing in 1968. Eventually, you got into radio in like '76, and then you got into TV too. That must be challenging. You're using the written word and then going into the spoken word. That must have been challenging.
Well, you have to know your medium, I think, more so than anything else. And I love the opportunity to do things I never thought I'd dream of getting that chance of doing. But for newspapers and writing, I always thought you could be expansive with your thoughts. For radio, you needed to be descriptive and concise. For television, you had to be more analytical. And I think each medium helped me. So by doing a little TV, by doing a little radio, made me a better writer.
In fact, Tom Oates, Luke cares deeply about his craft. When he sets out to do a job, whether it's TV, radio, or print, he sets very high standards for himself. He's a perfectionist in a media world where perfection is impossible. That doesn't stop him from trying to attain it. So in 1994, you joined Matt LePay, Badger basketball, football. Did you know that you have broadcast almost 350 football games, over 900 basketball games, and in your time with hockey, Mike Lucas has been part of nearly 2,000 Wisconsin Badgers broadcasts. That is remarkable to me.
I think if you ask Matt, having me next to him, it probably seems a lot longer and a lot more games that he's had to endure. Because I'm not going to be here today without him, and there's going to be so many future Hall of Fames where I'll be sitting in the audience, standing and applauding Matt LePay.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
deserving of that.
Yeah. And I took that part out of Matt's comments about making, it's longer, it seems longer. Yeah, no, I know. Matt LePay, there's no question that I and many others lean on Luke's longevity and ability to bring the proper perspective to what's happening with UW athletics. His love of the Badgers plus his deep connection with those who have played and coached is a priceless asset. Okay, what's the best game you ever saw?
Well, I can't just narrow it down to one game in itself, the Ron Dane game, more so than anything else because of the sheer energy in the stadium. But we just talked about the national championships in hockey, and you being a hockey guy know how important and how lasting and how they resonated with anybody. So it'd be too difficult to just single out one game or one sport. I enjoyed the moment, and I think that's the most important thing about my profession. I played all sports growing up. I loved playing all sports growing up. I thought I was pretty good. Nobody else did. When I was a sophomore in high school, the basketball coach was Bernie Barkin, the legendary Bernie Barkin in the Beloit Memorial High School. They named the gym after him. I wanted to play hoops for him. And I went to his office. He taught me in chemistry. And he was a close family friend, so I figured I had an in there, right? I said, I want to be on your team. Do you think there's any chance? And he shook his head, no. He says, you have a bright future, but not on my team. And then he said something to me that I'll always remember, too. He said, find something you like, make it a passion, follow your heart, and let's see where it takes you. It's brought me here.
Awesome. Bill Brophy, former sports editor of the State Journal, is here. No one has been involved with more media platforms in Madison, and no one has ever been more passionate or done more preparation for an assignment, and no one in the Madison media has shaped more opinions or been more influential over the last half century than Mike Lucas. You have interviewed some fantastic subjects, too. Your favorites?
I have. Well, when you think about it, outside of the Badgers and the Brewers, I even did a little Brewers baseball and the Packers. I mean, I've interviewed everyone from Joe Charbonneau, do you remember him?
Oh, sure.
To Joe Namath.
Cleveland Indians. Oh, really?
Did
he have pantyhose on?
Yeah. Everyone from George Plimpton to James Patterson. Everyone from Dick Vitale to the San Diego Chicken. But there are a couple of memorable interviews, and Jerry will be able to relate to this. In 1975, I interviewed a young lady. She was 12 years old. She was 4'11", 78 pounds, and she was playing in the state amateur golf tournament in Tacoma. It was Sherry Steinhauer, yeah. I did a column on her that day, and I remember her telling me that she grew up idolizing Arnold Palmer. She said, that's what I want to do. I want to make money playing golf. Yeah, 12 years old. She was going into the 7th grade. It's one of those interviews you never forget. Yeah. And the other one, I'll give you just a moment that I shared. In 1973, I interviewed his inmate number was 21105 at Waupun. He was doing 30 years for armed robbery. His name was Richard Luckman. He set a world record in the deadlift, over 600 pounds. He weighed about 143. I did the interview in his 5x8 cell. He was hoping for parole, came many years later. He eventually got out and wrote a book. I was so touched and moved by being in that environment and seeing what he went through to try to rehabilitate himself. Two moments that will stand out among all the other moments that I've had.
That's amazing. He's obviously a fantastic storyteller. Andy Baggett's here today, too. Mike is a man of loyalty, passion, and generosity. His instincts and curiosities have launched millions of stories. And you have a lot of people here to celebrate this moment with you.
I'm not here. I don't get on this path without my wife, Peggy. She made so many sacrifices along the way. We celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary this year. And I have so much respect and pride for her. I was telling Jerry earlier, we got a table full of Denver people here too. Made, the great commitment to come to see me, which is incredible. And all our tailgaters and our friends, close friends and neighbor friends, it made a difference. And just being up here at this dais with these people, I'm in awe of this group right here. And one of the things that I love about what I do is I try to get behind the numbers and into the jersey. So, I see Sue. The first thing comes to mind, what made her such a great goaltender and a softball player? What made Molly run? Yeah. What was her passion? What was her motivation? How did Joel prioritize all the decisions that came across his desk? And then how did Jerry handle the pressure of the moment, those clutch putts, when all the eyes are on him? That's what's driven me for 50 plus years, looking for those answers.
It's been a privilege to know you and to read and to listen. Thank you very much, and keep it rolling. Mike Lucas. Thank you.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee tonight, Joel Maturi.
In our midst tonight is a former athlete, coach, and administrator who helped develop some of the strongest athletic and academic cultures in many places. Madison, our state of Wisconsin, the Midwest, and beyond. He's the only person in the room tonight who can say the legendary Ted Williams was a family friend. The only one here who coached a certain athlete in high school before he turned famous comedian and became a motivational speaker who lived in a van down by the river. Joel Maturi was born in Hibbing in Minnesota's Iron Range. He grew up in nearby Chisholm, the third of 4 sons to Mom Gwyn and Dad Alfred, better known as Babe. In addition to his 2 older brothers, he has a younger brother and sister. The Iron Range was a hockey hotbed in those days, but Maturi's preferences were just about everything else, including curling. Growing up in a small town had its advantages, just like having 2 older brothers to compete against did. That friendly family competition gave him a leg up on athletes his own age. There were a few hiccups along the way, such as when he scored the winning hoop in a 4th grade basketball tournament for the other team. But even that experience turned out to be a blessing later on. Idols were many, from his brothers to the splendid splinter himself, Theodore Samuel Williams, and another major leaguer who made a headline or two, also from Hibbing, Roger Maris. At Chisholm High School, he was a 4-year varsity football player, captain in football and baseball, and played basketball too. He continued to curl, and although the sport wasn't sponsored by the High School Association, his team won the Minnesota State Championship. A friend in Chisholm who had played basketball at Notre Dame contacted the football coaching staff on Joel's behalf. After being accepted, Maturi was a preferred walk-on in South Bend. An injury prevented him from playing for Ara Parsegian. Instead, he became a student assistant trainer and was at Parsegian's side in 1967 when Notre Dame won the college football national championship. After South Bend, it was on to the UW for grad school. Joel chose Wisconsin over Minnesota and Notre Dame for a very good reason. His high school girlfriend went to Marquette. Joel knew what he wanted to do in life in the 4th grade. His answer to a classroom assignment asking students what they wanted to be? A coach. To that end, Maturi applied for a teaching job at Edgewood High School, all the while hoping to get a chance at coaching. He got the job, and then he met one of the most important people in his life, Edgewood athletic director and head football and basketball coach George Christ. Maturi's coaching influences read like a who's who: Earl Wilkie, Dorothy Goldsworthy, his high school coaches, Parsegian, Otto Breitenbach, and so many more. It was Christ who hired Maturi to be his assistant in football and also made him the track and field coach, even though he knew precious little about the sport. A whirlwind of coaching opportunities were on the horizon. Soon came a job offer from an Eau Claire high school. Christ enticed him to turn it down by giving him the head basketball coaching job. 1 year later, Christ left Edgewood for the UW, and Maturi got both of his former jobs, head football coach and athletic director. Words won't describe what George Christ and the Christ family meant to Joel. Suffice to say, George was his mentor, role model, and best friend. He was also Joel's best man when he married Lois. After 19 exhilarating years coaching at Edgewood, a guy by the name of Otto Breitenbach called and asked Maturi to be an assistant athletic director at the then struggling UW athletic department. Maturi describes this opportunity as right place, right time. Donna Shalala came on board, and Badger Athletics began its climb. Another men's hockey championship, and the first of many trips to Pasadena. Awards followed. Wisconsin Sportsperson of the Year in 1993, the Pat O'Day Award from this Hall of Fame in 1996. The opportunity to be the AD at Denver University was next. From there, he moved on to Miami University. When he took the Miami job, he told the university president the only AD job that would make him leave town was at Wisconsin, Notre Dame, or Minnesota. The Gophers came calling in 2002, and the improvements, accomplishments, and success stories kept on coming. He's had athletic facilities named after him on the Minnesota campus and back home in Chisholm. We'd be sitting here till midnight running down all the Hall of Fames he's been inducted into. Joel and Lois have been married nearly 50 years. Joel says if not for Lois's support and understanding along the way, his amazing journey would never have happened the way it has. They have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Blessings have followed Maturi everywhere, from childhood to each stop in life. He says words can't explain what this honor means to him. As always, he's thankful for a life well lived. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Joel Maturi into the class of 2021.
And let's hear from Joel. He's with Dennis Semrow.
Joel, congratulations.
Thank you, Dennis.
As I mentioned earlier, we were roommates. Puerto Rico, right. You think about all the travels you made. There's got to be one special one your family was involved in with you.
Well, as Mike said, you know, when you're in the business as long as I've been in it, as he and all the recipients, there are a lot of them. And certainly here at Wisconsin, how do you forget the trip to Japan to have to win the game to go to the Rose Bowl? How do you forget that first Rose Bowl? There's so many aspects like that that are in my mind and I'll never forget and I'll be thankful for.
People said you can't take academics and athletics and win. Donna Shalala said, why not? Your philosophy on that?
Well, I've said it. We talked about it earlier as we were just gathering. I believe Donna is the person who really changed Wisconsin sports more than anybody. She wanted to win. She changed the faculty's understanding of the importance of sport. She did something pretty important hiring a guy by the name of Pat Richter, who did something pretty important by hiring the coaches that he hired and the staff that he put together. And obviously, Badger fans, don't realize that it wasn't, some of the older people do. It wasn't always like it is today. And those are the people that deserve the credit.
And you'd say we're spoiled now?
You know what? Don't ever get spoiled. Just take advantage of it.
George Chris was such a big part of your life, and they talked about it there, but we talked earlier about the impact he had. When he left, you became the athletic director. What piece of advice has kind of carried you through your career?
Well, again, there's so many things. When George first hired me, and I'm a 23-year-old kid out of graduate school, my first head coaching job, and George said, I don't want a tape recorder. And when you think about it, it made a lot of sense. He said, don't tell me what I want to hear. Don't tell me what I've just said. I want to know what you said. Don't say it in front of the kids. We don't disagree in front of the kids, but I want something of that. And the other thing that he always talked, because I coached baseball my second year, and he said, you can't control the uncontrollables. And the reason I say baseball, because in the spring sport, it was raining, and you'd worry about it. And he taught me real soon, you know what? And most of us, when you think about it, the things that bother us the most are things we can't control. And George taught me about a lot of things. But there's so many people in this room, as each of the inductees will say, the families that are responsible. I mean, to me, it's the Dominican sisters at Edgewood that really changed my life. Obviously, the Chris family, the coaches that I coached with, the athletes that are here that I had the opportunity to be with, had such an impact on me. I can't thank them enough. And then Wisconsin, the trip to Wisconsin, begun by Otto and Pat giving me the opportunities that he did. And then as mentioned, people don't realize, I know I was born and raised in Minnesota and I live there now, but I've never lived any place longer than in Madison, Wisconsin. So to me, it was coming home.
The Axe. Who do you want to win the Axe every year?
Don't tell people this. He asked me who I want to win the Axe. I said, you know what? Blood is thicker than water, and the Chris family is family.
Well, George was your best man. Right? And he told me something else about the family.
Well, what we did is I would meet George at 6:30 in the morning at Blessed Sacrament for Mass. I'd go over to the Chris family house for breakfast. Patty would have it, and I'd be there with the 5 kids. Patty would pack a bag lunch for George and myself because I coached football and basketball with him, and we'd plan practice. And then at night, I'd go to their house for dinner, and then I'd go to my apartment and sleep and start over the next day. So if you think the Chris family is kind of important to me, obviously it is. And let me, before I get done here, to thank him, looking at Peg, and the thanks to her and to Al and to Jim Scheidler who began this operation for me being inducted with these tremendous recipients this evening.
One of your proudest accomplishments has to be the referendum to get a new stadium in Minnesota. Being a Minnesota native, what does that mean to you?
Well, again, it wasn't easy, to be able to get that done. But some people remember the Dome, where the Gophers played off campus in the Dome, a Vikings facility, certainly not a college facility. And though our stadium is not as large as Camp Randall, it's really a nice stadium. So if you get the opportunity to come up, and it's now Huntington Bank Stadium, but it's a beautiful place, and proud to have been a part of bringing Gopher football back to campus.
Are you amazed to see your name on a building?
You know what, Lois will get upset with me, but she had just had hip replacement when the president of the university called me and told me that the building where they play volleyball, and Coach knows that, and we wrestle and we have our gymnastics competitions there. He told me that this was going to happen, and so I get home from the event that he shares this with me, and Lois says, I thought you had to be dead to have a building named after you. So she put it in perspective in a real hurry, so what can I say?
We have to save the best for last. You and Lois have been married almost 50 years. Tell me a great story. How did you meet?
We met at the garbage can. How's that? It was my first year at Edgewood. It was a Saturday night, May of 1969. I was supposed to chaperone the prom that evening. She had driven over a roommate. She was in her 5th year at the University of Wisconsin. And she's a West Regent, by the way, Peg, so I want you to know that. I married a Regent and a Badger grad. And she dropped somebody off who she knew needed a ride because she had a car. And we ended up staying and playing volleyball, as you do in those complexes, the apartment complexes, all night long. I never did make it to the prom, and that was only 52 years ago, but here we are.
Congratulations, and very happy for you.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee tonight is Molly McClyman.
Next time you go to the UW Shell, take a look under the bleachers, and if you find a pack of crayons, please return them to Molly McClyman Watke. She'll probably autograph them for you. McClyman Watke was winning track events even as she was born. She was 3 weeks early. Her mother, Pat, was obviously in town, but her father, Dan, the UW track and field coach, had to drop everything, leave the out-of-town meet he was at, and get home ASAP. Molly was born on Madison's near west side. She has 2 older brothers and 1 younger sister. When your dad's the local university track and field and cross-country coach, you have an inkling about what might be in store for you. But Molly fell in love with the sports from the day she joined the Cardinal Jets, a summer track program her father established. For a brief period, she was a speed skater during the winter. But when Dad is worried you might develop Haydn-like thunder thighs, that sport won't have much of a future, and it didn't. For the record, the cold winds at Lake Wingra get the blame for her exit from speed skating, not her father's concerns. Molly ran in the inaugural Crazy Legs Classic, as well as Al's run in Milwaukee. Al, as in Al McGuire. When she wasn't watching meets at the Shell and losing her crayons, she went to grade school at Blessed Sacrament and remembers running the 600 there every year and beating a certain boy every year. Edgewood High School was next, where in addition to running track and cross country, she played basketball her freshman year. But injury concerns and the fact her friends were all great players made her decision to slide a bit further down the bench to be the team statistician all the more easier. Gary Thornton was her coach at Edgewood, and Molly says he was a tremendous coach who realized her future potential and didn't wear her down as a prep. Competing against the likes of future Wisconsin stars Amy Wickes and Claire Eichmann, McClyman Watke made a habit of crossing the finish line first. She won 4 state titles in cross country and 10 state titles in track, 4 in the 1600, 4 in the 800, 1 in the 3200, and 1 in the 4x400 relay. She set 5 records at state. She was first team All-City in both sports, first team All-State in both, and no one ever beat her in the 800 or 1600 events in high school. There were a lot of other awards. Among them, Molly was the Scholastic Coach's pick for Outstanding Female Athlete in back-to-back years, and she was the Wisconsin Track Coaches Association's choice for Female Athlete of the Year in 1989. Next stop was Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan, where the success in cross-country and track just kept on coming. This is just a sample of so many college achievements. In cross-country, she was captain, made the All-Big Ten team 3 times, was named Academic All-Big Ten twice, was a Big Ten champion twice, was the Big Ten Athlete of the Year in 1993, and was an NCAA First-Team All-American 3 times. Twice, she was chosen as Michigan's Female Athlete of the Year and was Michigan's Scholar Athlete of the Year in 1994. In track, she was captain, the 3,000 and 5,000 indoor champion, the 5,000 outdoor champion. She was a 3-time academic All-Big Ten and a 5-time NCAA First-Team All-American. She competed professionally after college, qualified twice for the Olympic team trials. In 1998, she was on Team USA when it won the bronze medal at the World Cross Country Championships. When those competitive days ended, McClyman Watke started up an after-school running club for kids. In celebration of the kids' running club her father had when she was a child, the Cardinal Jets, Molly called her club the Badger Jets. More than 200 kids learned the fundamentals of running and healthy lifestyle basics. She also coached middle and high school track and field teams for a number of years. She's been married for 25 years to Craig Watke. They have 2 children, a son, Dan, who runs cross country and track in high school, and a daughter, Emma, who runs cross country and track at the UW. Molly still finds time occasionally to run races here and there, but she and Craig spend a lot of time with their kids, encouraging healthy lifestyles wherever life takes them. Molly says she's extremely humbled and honored to be an inductee. She still considers Madison her home, and she thanks her family and all her coaches for supporting her endeavors. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Molly McClyman Watke into the class of 2021.
And let's hear from Molly, who is with Carly Murata.
Hi, Molly. Congratulations. I'm wondering, where does your passion for running come from? Why do you love the sport?
Well, if you watch the video, I was sort of just born into, just kind of came naturally. Yeah, it's just something, I spent a lot of time. I really grew up as part of the Badger family, and I think I just kind of learned by osmosis and spent a lot of time with my dad's teams, and I think I just really picked up those skills, and it just came naturally to me, really.
Like you said, it was from a young age, and we saw those pictures of you so young. How did your dad influence your love for the sport?
He really had, there's a lot of people here that knew my dad personally, and I think one thing that was just awesome about him is, as an Irishman, he had just a great combination of passion for the things that he loved, and he had a great sense of humor. So my family that's here can probably attest that, we all kind of take after him in that way. So, yeah.
Speaking of your family, your 2 kids now run as well.
Right.
What's it like to see them running, and are there any resemblances to you?
Yeah, it's super exciting. I'm glad that they love it, and we let them know that it's important that they're doing it because they love it, not that my husband was also a runner in college, so there's a lot of genetics in their favor. Yeah, as long as they love it, we're happy about it. And yeah, I laugh. I've sort of redeemed myself. I ran off to Ann Arbor, but I think all is well now. I have a badger in the house. So, but it's super exciting for her to attend Wisconsin and run, at a track named after her grandfather that she, never had a chance to meet is pretty cool.
And of all those awards and accomplishments and experiences, is there one that stands out to you that you worked really hard for or means a lot to you?
Probably 2 things from my days in college really stand out. One would be our first Big Ten championship in cross country at Michigan. It was first for our women's team ever, and really kind of sparked some momentum for our program that kind of goes on to this day. And that came after I had a pretty serious knee injury. So for me personally, that was really cool. And then when I was a 5th-year senior, kind of finishing up some of that eligibility, the Big Ten outdoor championships happened to be at the McClyman track in Madison. So that was really cool because I was able, I won the 5,000 that day, and our team won the championship. So that was really, really cool for me to do that in Madison. And talk about the pressure being on. It was on, yeah, so.
Definitely something to remember. Lastly, has anyone else made an impact on your career when you look back on it, or anyone else that you want to say thank you to tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. My family obviously has been instrumental. My brother always kind of gave me a lot of coaching strategy along the way, and have a great sister and awesome mom that really supported us through some super tough times. And then my high school coach, Coach Thornton, is here tonight, and I thank him to this day for really preserving me for the test of time and making my greatest days really like in college and beyond. And that's super important, and I'm forever grateful for that. So.
All right, thank you, Molly, and a big congratulations.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee tonight, Sue Mussey Kemp.
For the record, Sue Mussey Kemp's family never owned a bulldozer. But if her parents could have envisioned the gender barrier she'd destroy in hockey, they just might have bought one as the family vehicle. Born in Menominee to Jack and Lois, her family moved to Madison's east side when she was 5. There was a well-worn path from the Mussey house to La Follette High School, where brothers Steve, Rick, and Joe and sister Diane all played sports. Sue's father was a two-sport college athlete. Sue's brothers were responsible for her interest in sports, and all of the kids played whatever sport was in season. Her brothers played hockey. Sue and her sister were figure skaters. Well, Sue was anyway, for about 2 weeks before she traded in her figure skates for speed skates. The Musseys flooded their backyard every winter for their boys, but Sue pestered her dad to let her play too. Dad caved, and she was 8 when she started. Sue and her brothers were pretty serious about backyard hockey. They'd play at their house or a neighbor's after school, then traipse home for dinner, which they ate, by the way, with their skates still laced, and then, without having to do the dishes, went back outside until they were literally freezing or it was bedtime. Once the ice melted, the East Madison Little League Diamonds were her second home. She played baseball and softball. Mussey Kemp began her competitive career smashing the gender barrier in youth hockey. This trailblazer put on the goalie pads for the Madison East Youth Hockey Association, becoming the first girl to play on a Dane County boys team. The gender barrier fell again at the elite travel hockey level when Sue became the first girl to play on the Madison Capitals boys bantam team. Her time with the Caps was punctuated by her selection to the All-Star team at a tournament in St. Louis. At that same tournament, coaches from 2 Canadian teams told her coaches, none other than Marlo Suter and Paul Ryan, that they wouldn't play a team with a girl because they just didn't do those things in Canada. Her coaches laughed and invited the Canadian teams to go ahead and forfeit. The Caps ended up playing both Canadian teams, and with Sue in net, beat them both. Her time with the Caps provided the confidence to break the gender barrier once again at La Follette. In 1980, she became the first girl to play in Wisconsin boys high school hockey history. On the high school softball field, she was something special too. The Lancers girls softball program was loaded back in the day with a roster full of talented upperclasswomen. Her father's insistence back in Little League to learn multiple positions was key, and she made the Lansing varsity as a freshman. She was a 4-year starter and knocked in multiple All-City and Big 8 conference honors. Sue earned a scholarship to play goalie in college. She was a 4-year starter for the Providence College women's hockey team, winning all sorts of honors. Among them, the Providence Female Rookie of the Year, the Providence College Athlete of the Year, ECAC Tournament MVP, and All-Star. She won 2 conference championships at Providence and rewrote the record books there, finishing in 4 top 10 career categories: goals against average, save percentage, total saves, and games played. In addition to her 4 letters in hockey, she won 4 more playing women's softball. She was a 4-year starter in the infield and circled the bases more often than not, winning all Northeast region honors. With her college playing days behind her, it was only a matter of time before she transitioned to coaching. And what better place to start than at Providence? Mussy Kemp was an assistant coach in 3 sports there: women's hockey, softball, and field hockey. Later, she was the assistant head coach for Providence women's hockey. Moving back to Madison, she coached for the Madison Capitals and worked in administration for the Badger State Games. She was also an assistant coach in the Wisconsin Challengers girls youth hockey program. Ohio State women's hockey came calling, and off she went to be an assistant for 5 years. One constant during all of her stops was as an instructor at Bill Howard's goaltending school for 20 years. Hard to believe there's time for hobbies, but she and husband Terry have several, from pheasant hunting to laid-back times at their cabin. Naturally, they're big Packers fans and make the pilgrimage to Lambeau every season. Today's headlines overflow with the accomplishments and backstories of inspirational female leaders worldwide. But back in the day, Sue Mussy Kemp was a true pioneer in Wisconsin, bashing gender barriers wherever she went. Surprising maybe, she never faced the negative backlash faced by other female athletes. Sue says it's an honor and a privilege to be inducted into this distinguished group. She's the first to say how fortunate she's been to have had the extraordinary support of her parents, siblings, teammates, and coaches along her trailblazing path. Her experiences are near to her heart and never more than a thought away. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Sue Mussy Kemp into the class of 2021.
And I get the honor of talking to Sue. What's it like to wait here all night and be the last one?
Oh, I guess I'm kind of used to it being in a large family.
I was gonna ask you about that. What was it like growing up in that Mussy household? My gosh.
Well, the older siblings definitely paved the way and taught us younger two what not to do.
Were there an occasional scrap amongst the children?
The boys definitely, and maybe with my sister, but I think I was smart enough to sit back and just let them do it.
Good thinking. That hockey rink in your backyard, how sweet was that? And that must have been like the capital of the community then.
It was until we outgrew it, and then our neighbors up the street, the Fredericks, flooded their whole backyard. So they became the place to go.
But you were the original. I mean, you're like one of the original 6 in the NHL, though.
I don't know, were we?
Oh yeah. Well, tonight we'll say you were. So this whole first girl in the world of boys hockey, was it difficult for you?
I don't think so. I mean, at least I didn't think it was. Like they said, I pestered my dad enough. I think he got tired of hearing me or asking me if I could play, and they let me, and I don't think they realized I was going to continue to play as long as I did.
When you were in that situation, did you feel like a pioneer?
No, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play hockey. I wanted to play sports like my brothers.
What the hell's wrong with those Canadians that didn't want to play you?
You would think, because they claim that that's where hockey originated.
Yeah. But then when you beat them, how did that feel?
It felt great for me.
As it should. We have so many multi-sport athletes in the Madison Sports Hall of Fame, and you were another one. How important was playing not just hockey, but all the other sports to your career?
Well, I think like a lot of people growing up and being outside and being involved in things, you played whatever sport was in season. Or you made up games, so that was the thing growing up.
And after your playing career,
all of your list of coaching achievements, did you feel it was important to give back and continue to teach the game of hockey to younger people?
Definitely. I mean, I knew that I didn't want to play anymore after college because I knew that it was time to put that aside, but I still wanted to be involved in hockey, and that was one way to do that.
Finally, when you look at the landscape of girls and women's sports now, what do you see?
It's amazing. It's amazing how far it's come just in the last 20 years, but it's still in its infancy compared to where it still can go.
Yeah, we still do have quite a ways to go, though, don't we?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Sue Mussey-Kemp, congratulations and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
I got 2 new hips. I can do that again. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us for the 58th Annual Madison Sports Hall of Fame Banquet. Congratulations again to all of our award winners and to our new Hall of Fame inductees as well. A reminder that tonight's ceremony has been recorded in its entirety. It will be available for viewing on the club's website, and it'll be on the Facebook page in about a week. Thanks to Al Schumacher for doing a great job in putting this whole thing together. Al took over for Peg and Greg Mueller, who were in charge of it the last 13 years, and granted, Al had 2 years to figure it out, but he pulled it off under some challenging circumstances. And we appreciate the support of our sponsors and appreciate all of you in the audience for taking time out from your busy schedules to celebrate a very special evening. Thanks again for coming, and good night.